the Rise of a Warrior fight event. And ladies and gentlemen, I have Mr. Combat Night. Mitchell, how you doing, man? I appreciate you stopping by. What's it like for you to see this event go down? Obviously, you're a big hand in this. What's it like for you to see it?
Man, it is so awesome to see what Dan Donaldson has done over here in Fort Pierce and turned a small country town into an MMA town. It's a very unique atmosphere and something that you don't see often in these small towns. You know, Treasure Coast has really got a treasure here in Rise of a Warrior.
Yeah. So now, obviously, you've done some fighting. You know what you do. You can whoop some ass, okay, but what's it like for a promoter when it's fight day? What's the feelings like as a promoter?
It is as stressful as anyone can imagine. It's like trying to babysit 100 chickens with rabies. You know, you got all the coaches, all the fighters, all the fans, all the sponsors. You know, Dan is communicating with probably 200-300 plus people today, and everyone, he's treating everyone like they're the most important person in the building. So it's very hard on the day for a promoter.
Now, obviously, in my opinion, if you're a fight fan and you're not at Rise of Warrior or Combat Nights, what are you even going to?
You ain't a fight fan.
You're not a fight fan, clearly. But for you, Mitchell, there's so much that goes into it. Combat Nights, social media page, you guys do so well. For you, how much of that is business? How much of it is just a fight night? What is it for you?
I mean, it's business, but I love every single second of this shit. Don't get it twisted. I would do this for free. If money wasn't a thing and, you know, everything we did was worked on barters, I would be happy to provide an event for everybody to enjoy. I love this shit. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing in my life than this.
I love it. And now, so how long have you been at this? How long have you been in a promoter game? How long have you ran Combat Night?
We're on our 12th year right now, so January 21st will be our 13th year.
Wow, 13 years. If you were to go back maybe 15 years ago and tell Mitchell 15 years ago where you're at, what you're doing now, would he have believed it?
I believe every fucking second of it. I manifested this. I busted my ass for this. What me and Dan Donaldson do is not easy. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and most importantly, a lot of passion. And I knew as soon as I started doing MMA that I was very passionate about it. I loved it. I mean, I had a girl at the time that was going to school to be a pharmacist, and she told me to, you know, stop chasing that silly dream of fighting. And I laughed at her and told her, talk to me in a couple of years.
That's right. That's right. And now look at him. How you doing, baby? How you doing? But I want to ask you, Mitchell, I appreciate you so much for your time. So obviously we're here July 13th, fight night, but how many days, how long has it been a process of work going into this night?
I mean, you know, a combat night normally takes six solid weeks of hard work, but I'll be honest with you guys, man, what Dan Donaldson is doing out here is about 10 to 12 weeks of hard work. Wow. He is communicating with so many sponsors, so many fans, and he treats them all like family. You know, it's really, like I said, I know I keep talking about it a lot, but it's really special what Dan does out here, and it's a long process. It takes a lot of work to put together something like this.
Yeah, and I always like to highlight, you know, his team, his sons, everybody that's on production team here, everybody, the crew. For you, Combat Night, how important is the team?
I mean, it's not even a team, it's family. And I really mean that. You know, everyone that works behind the scenes, I consider them family. I would give them the shirt off my back. I'd whoop somebody's ass and take the shirt off their back for them. And I know Dan feels the same way. You know, it's a family affair. His son's involved, my son's involved, my wife, his girl. I mean, it's a family affair, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Now, in terms of consulting fighters, I'm always a proponent of, you know, I like sports, but to me, combat sports is so unfortunate. One little mishap is over. One little mishap, you let them get a head kick, it's over. You don't get to fight for those 6 months. For you, is it important to let fighters know that you got to let that go? You know, it's just got to be one game, one moment. It's not a Super Bowl, even though it is a Super Bowl each fight.
No, for sure, man. You know, Matt Waggy checking in here. It's, you know, what it is just a moment, and it sucks because the moments in MMA matter so much. We don't start over every year and get a new record. You know, every loss matters. The important thing is, though, that Rise of the Warriors is offering these amateur opportunities, and they do get erased. So by all means, in the amateur ranking, something bad happens, you get caught in a submission, you get knocked out. Go back to the drawing board, figure it out, get it out of your mind, and come back stronger, because in amateurs, it's all about these experiences and learning from them. So it's very important to have a short memory, but also let it stick with you a little bit and learn from it.
Love it. And as a pro promoter, obviously Combat Night, we got a pro event. When you're out here watching the amateur fights at Rise of Warrior, are you always looking for you know, up-and-coming guys to sign, up-and-coming guys to get along the team?
You know, 100%. I'm looking for the future of the sport here. Rise of a Warrior has produced a ton of talented fighters that have went on to the UFC. You got Val Woodburn, who recently got in the UFC. You got Jillian Robertson, one of the top 10 females in the UFC, most submissions, most fights. You know, Charles Rosa. The list just goes on and on for athletes that have come through these doors and walked in that cage and then walked into the UFC cage. So yeah, this is where I find the future of the sport, and I love every second of it.
For you, Mitchell, what's the biggest difference between an amateur fight and a pro fight?
To be honest, man, there's very small differences. A lot of similarities, but the small differences are the pros are getting paid, it's peanuts. So if you're chasing a dream because you think you're going to get paid, it's not. You're in the wrong sport. The second thing would be the shin guards. Obviously, there's more at risk there. You got to learn how to protect those head kicks. And then the very last thing would just be it's permanent. At that point, there is no erasing the record as a pro. It's every moment matters, and that's why it's important as an amateur to take those tough fights and to learn how to be good as a pro, because when you're pro, man, everything is there for life.
Yeah, man, I love it. Now we're getting a live reaction. Okay, Rise of a Warrior, round one. We're here with the CEO of Combat Night. And I just want to ask you, like, how do you kind of tell your fighters to calm their nerves down? This is a Super Bowl. The entire city are watching you fight in that octagon. What are you telling fighters to calm the nerves?
That was a big slam. Nasty slam. You know, I always try to remind fighters to be present in the moment, to take it all in, to enjoy every second of it. You never know when you get to step back in that cage. I have so many friends and family members that have been in car wrecks, you know, suffered an eye injury, found out, you know, they had a kid and they couldn't do it anymore. So I always tell them to enjoy the process. Whenever you get in there, take in every second, take a deep breath, and just enjoy it, because you never know when you get to do it again. And for me, that's the best way to get them to calm down their nerves, if they're going to be calm.
Right. Wow.
You got a reversal in there now.
Yep.
The guy who got the slam is now on bottom. It's hard, man. You get a big slam like that, and your adrenaline's pumping, and you want to keep moving.
Right.
Sometimes it's better just to chill out, you know, and it looks like a little guillotine jump.
Now I want to ask you, Mitchell, as a promoter, is it important to emphasize to the fighters how important it is to entertain? Obviously, no one wants to see a bunch of people roll around and get a split decision. Do you have to remind them to entertain?
You know, I tell them the number one most important thing in the sport is to win.
Wow.
Right? It got to win. So if entertaining the fans comes at the cost of losing, then, you know, focus on winning first and learning how to win the right way and dominantly, and then you can be entertaining. But there's a lot of opportunities to be entertaining outside of the actual fight. You got your weigh-ins, you got your face-offs, you got your post-fight speech, you've got the interviews. You know, there's 4 or 5 opportunities. And I always tell these guys, anytime your name is called, entertain. And when your name is called and you're walking out of that cage, entertain, man, all the way to the cage. That walkout, that's your time to shine. And then when you get in the cage, you got to back up everything you said or did prior to that moment.
Hey, I agree so much, man. And you guys, Combat Night, Rise of War, you guys absolutely killed that. The weigh-ins, all the social media, the build-up, the lead-up, the inside footage, the behind-the-scenes, truly engaged. I feel like it's an embedded almost for each promotion. I love it.
Yeah, we try to really focus on providing these amateur athletes. You know, they're not getting paid, so the best thing we can do for them is to give them some exposure to our fans, and hopefully our fans want to follow them in their journey and they get more followers, because in today's world, it really matters how many followers you have on IG, on TikTok, on Instagram, you know, all that stuff. So our goal is to get them as much exposure as possible in the amateurs, so that by the time they're pros, they have sponsors knocking on their door. You know, they have their friends and family that are supporting them, buying the t-shirts. But yeah, there's you know, even though you can't necessarily get paid in the amateurs, if you're entertaining, there's a lot of ways to make money, from sponsors, t-shirt sales, you know, you name it.
Last 2 I got for you, Mitchell. I appreciate you so much. If you were to have 2 fighters that you were looking at as prospects, fighter A is a 8 out of 10 in terms of fighting, but a 9 in terms of his entertainment, his social skills. Fighter 2 is a 9 in terms of his fighting skills, but a 3 in terms of entertaining and
Fighter
talking.
1.
Who do you want?
Fighter 1.
Why is that?
I mean, it's what's going to sell tickets. You know, for promoters, we love the entertainers. That's what we want. We want all the guys that are going to entertain people.
Whoa! Big punch there.
That was a huge shot. He looked out. The ground might have woke him up.
Wow.
That was nasty. That was
Definitely
a big right hand.
Big right hand.
Yep. But yeah, for me, you know, if I'm going to get behind a fighter and promote him, you know, honestly, at the end of the day, I could care less how many tickets they're going to sell for me.
Yeah.
But I know if they're entertaining, they know how to talk well, they have charisma, even if they don't personally sell tickets. You know, a good example is a guy named Val Woodburn who fought with us a lot. And in Tallahassee, he was from Orlando, but he had a huge fan base in Tallahassee because of how entertaining he was out of the cage and in the cage. He always showed up, big knockouts.
Yeah.
Was a loving guy. Everyone wanted to see him be successful. He has a huge fan base all over Florida, even though he's from Orlando. You know, people would ask, is he fighting? Is he fighting on this card? So entertaining fighter is always going to be the one that I'm gonna want to see, whether it's entertaining out of the cage or in the cage. That's what I want to see as a fan.
Right.
And as a promoter, I know I can sell that. Even if he doesn't sell tickets, just be yourself, I'll sell them for you.
That's right. I love that. Shout out to Titus Jones. He's one of those guys,
yes,
okay?
Sir.
He's going to fight, but he's also going to let you know. Last one I got for you, Mitchell. What can we look forward to you in Combat Night in the future moving forward?
We're going to continue to grow, man. We're going to continue to grow 1%, 0.5%, 1/4%, every single event. That's the goal. Continue to grow our production, continue to grow our live event experience, and, you know, keep bringing the fans amazing fights. You know, I'm not, you know, right now when it comes to live events, I don't believe there's anybody that can come close to me or Dan Donaldson.
No way.
We just understand how to get a crowd excited, how to give the energy to the fans, and get the fighters fired up so they're doing the same thing. And now we're just working on that live experience, bringing it to the pay-per-view.
Right.
You know, we want the pay-per-view experience to be very similar to the live. We want people to watch the pay-per-view and say, damn, I wish I was at that event. You know, that's the goal of our Instagram, is really to show these guys what they're missing out on from the live event. And then, you know, the more and more we build the production side of it, just the better we're going to be. And I really do see us, you know, the next 2 or 3 years, Rise of a Warrior and Combat Night, having our own pay-per-view platform that's pumping, you know, selling thousands. And that's our goal, man. You know, we can only put, what, 2,500 people in this building?
Right.
And we pack it out every single time. Dan Donaldson always packs it, but we can put 1 million people at home watching our stream. And obviously, you know, the goal is 1 million, but I'm happy with 10,000.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Listen, man, these are guys that do it. I hope I can be involved with that. I'd love to be a part of it. I appreciate you. If no one told you today, Mitchell, I appreciate you. This whole city appreciates you. Dan, Rise of a Warrior, Combat Night. It's the man right here.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me on here. And again, like, you know, like I said, it's not just Dan, but it's the whole community really that's gotten this to where it is. Guys like you pumping, giving the fighters extra exposure. All of this means the world to me because, you know, I come from a time where no one gave a fuck about fighting. No one cared. No one showed us love. And now it's cool to see the whole community get behind something like Rise of a Warrior.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you so much. This is a legend right here. Tune in. Combat Night, Rise of a Warrior.
Thank you so much, man.
That was awesome.